Alright, hello everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about the Marvel Tokon Beta. It is now officially over, and I wanted to go ahead and give my final thoughts and impressions on our first public view, or first public playtest of Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. Now for me, I enjoyed the game. I think it's amazing, I really loved it. But that doesn't mean I don't have issues with it. There's definitely some stuff I would like to see fixed or changed. But overall, that doesn't mean I think the game is bad. I think at worst, this game's like an 8 out of 10, which is really great. It's going to be a generational fighting game, in my opinion. I think it's going to set a lot of tones for what we're going to see in the future. I think the impact it'll leave will be just as big, if not bigger, than what Dragon Ball FighterZ did with Arxis, so yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. Pretty much positive experience all the way through. But let's go ahead and get into some of the stuff that I had issues with, or maybe I would like to see adjusted before we get to the final release, which I'm sure a lot of this stuff is going to be changing. But regardless, let's get into it. So first off is the movement. Now, for a lot of people were saying that the movement was great, amazing, and stuff like that. A lot of people were comparing it, saying that it felt like fighters, but I didn't get that vibe from it. Now, not to say that the movement's bad. I think the air movement with the air dashes and a double jump was great. I think flight mode is really cool. It's an interesting concept. I didn't mess around with it too much, even though I was playing Star-Lord, but I think it's fine the way it is, the air movement. The issue I had was the ground movement, you know, like with the walk speed and kind of like the dashing. I don't know, it just felt off to me. It got better the more I played, so it might have just been, you know, new game syndrome, where it's like you're used to, when you're playing fighting games and you get used to the movement of one game, it can be a little jarring to switch to another one. Like with me, Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, when I play it for a while, the movement feels perfectly fine. I don't have issues with it. But then if I go to like DNF Duel and then switch back to Grand Blue feels extremely slow and sluggish for me for a little bit. So that might be what I was feeling with Tokon. It was just new, something different, so I didn't really jive with the movement at first. It slightly got better as time went on, but yeah, the grounded movement just felt a little weird to me. It felt kind of slow. I don't know if maybe that's the way they want it to be, and then have a lot of the speed be focused on like the air dashes and stuff, which is, if that's how they want to play it, that's fine. They nailed the air movement, so I can deal with it, but that's something I would like to see adjusted maybe. It could just be if I were to play it more, I'd get more used to it, because I was getting, it did feel a little bit better near the end of the week, of the beta weekend, but it still felt off to me. I haven't seen anyone else really mention that. Everyone else has been, for the most part, happy with the movement, so that might just be a me issue. But yeah, the grounded movement just felt awkward to me, and maybe that's just how they intended to be. I only played Star-Lord, really, a little bit of Captain America, so maybe it's just those characters. When I did play Doctor Doom in the tutorial, I did notice that his walk speed is incredibly slow, so that just kind of makes me think that maybe that's just how they want it to be. They want you to be dashing and air dashing the entire time instead of, you know, like kind of walking back and forth, which for the style the game is kind of going for, that makes sense. But yeah, next point that I had issues with was actually the tag and assist system. To start off with, the 4v4 concept is fine, but it definitely feels, the fourth slot just felt kind of bloated. It doesn't really feel necessary at times. That's not going to change. That's definitely a core concept of the game, the whole 4v4 function. But my initial impression of it was just the fourth slot just felt bloated, you know. I really didn't feel like they were necessary. It just felt, I don't even want to say awkward, like it literally just felt unneeded. So it's gonna stay there. There's nothing there's no way they end up removing that. But yeah, that's just my initial impression of the 4v4. It's just the fourth slot just felt like unnecessary bloat. But hey, you never know. It might end up becoming something really great in the future. But my actual like issues with the tag system was that it felt, one, oddly restrictive, and two, the way that the assists work in combos. So to start off with in terms of it being restricted, is it felt like you would call the assist, and at times they just would not come out, despite having the assemble meter filled or whatever. Like, I don't know if there's certain points where you're not allowed to call an assist, and never, as far as I'm concerned, I never saw it mentioned anywhere or anything. For anyone who plays Mortal Kombat 1 with the cameo system, you kind of get what I mean. How there's kind of points where you can't call in a cameo at times. Or, what's another game with assist that has like a similar feature like that? Is it just Mortal Kombat 1 as of late that had that kind of system? It might just be Mortal Kombat 1 that I'm thinking of, but yeah, I don't know. Like, it just felt like at points I wasn't allowed to call an assist, which is weird, which is kind of like messing me up at times. But then also tagging characters felt very weird at times as well, because there would be times where like you call in your forward assist, right? And I'd have Captain America come in and do a shield throw, and then he stands there waiting for the active tag, right? And instead of wanting the active tag, I would want to call in another assist. So I'd call in the Storm assist, or my Iron Man assist, or whoever was on my bench. And at times, I would get the Iron Man assist. And then other times, I would get the Iron Man assist, but also active tag Captain America at the same time. So I don't know if there's just some weird thing with the input system where it was kind of like registering the input twice and giving me both actions when I didn't want to active tag Captain America and only tag in Iron Man. Or I don't know if I clicked something wrong. Maybe I double tapped the assist button and that caused me to active tag. That happened every once in a while, not a lot. It maybe happened like 3 times, but it felt really weird and it was kind of annoying to have that happen. But my main issue, that's something that could easily be fixed if it is an issue. It might have just been me double tapping the assist button too quickly, because there are definitely times where I was like, oh, the assist didn't come out, and I would like mash it and then it would come out. So it could very easily have been my fault. The big issue I have is the way that the assists change in block strings. So let's say for Captain America, you have him on forward assist, which was the shield throw, I'm pretty sure. So he throws out his shield when you're out in neutral. But if you have someone in a block string, instead of doing the shield throw, he would just come in and do like a quick shield tackle, or just a little like shield charge to keep the block string up. But that's how all the characters in the game work, where if you have someone in a block string, they all do the same generic forward charging assist, or just something very similar to that, instead of doing whatever they were supposed to do, whether it be like a shield throw, or Iron Man doing his rising knee, or Miss Marvel doing her like a tornado spin attack. They would all just do like a charge or like a quick punch or something like that. And I don't really like that. I feel like that kind of, it simplifies the game, which I think is the way they were going for, is to try to make it easier for like beginners and stuff to get used to. Like, this is just an easy way to keep your block string going. But I kind of would rather them just leave it to where the assists would still do their unique assists, rather than having them just do this generic one during block strings. Because I feel like that just takes away from the variety of the game, and it also just makes things too... what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say... I'll just say generic. It's not the... I don't think it's the best way to describe it, but yeah, it just makes everything look generic, look the same. So I would just like it if they would rather just keep it to where, like, regardless if I'm in a block string or not, if I do Cap forward assist, or if Cap's my forward assist, he does the shield throw no matter what, regardless, instead of doing this generic charge. Or if I have him on the down assist, which I think was his shield yukin, or his shield uppercut. I call it a shield yukin, just because I'm stupid like that. If I hit down with Cap, or if Cap's in the down slot, I want him to always do the shield yukin rather than doing the little charge thing. So that was a issue I had. I think that's kind of a... I can see their reasoning for having that, but at the end of the day, I feel like that was kind of pointless. And I think it actually hurts the game more by having it like be like that. Because I could easily see people, especially for beginners, because I feel like the reason they would do that is for beginners, you know? To make it more like, oh, this is how you do assists and block strings, and this is what you get. And since it's the same for everyone, you can use everyone in a similar manner. Like, I feel like that was their way of thinking on that. But I feel like it's more confusing for a beginner to be like, oh, my assists are going to change not only depending on where they are on the team, like where they're slotted, but also whether or not I'm actually in a block string on someone. Because, like, what if they want the shield throw, but they accidentally, like, manage to get a light or a medium to connect with their opponent, and their opponent, like, blocked it, and now instead of shield throw, they get this generic charge. And I could see that being more complicated or more confusing to a beginner rather than just keeping them all the same and be like, alright, if you hit forward assist with Cap, he's gonna throw his shield no matter what. He's not gonna change his assist, you know? I feel like that's a much more simpler concept for people to follow. And I also think that just helps keep the game more diverse rather than having them all do the same generic assist follow-up. Moving on, I think that's kind of where I was at with the assist system. I don't think I had really any other issues. I guess my next issue would be tied into the assist system, which is, I think it's kind of ridiculous that they kind of have this whole idea of like, oh, you have to build up your assists, you know, you have to assemble your team together. You don't just get all 4 of them, you start off with 2. Yet you're able to get all 4 of them pretty much within the first 20 seconds of every match. I don't know, to me that just kind of feels like a waste of the whole like build-up system. I guess it gives you a choice on whether or not you want to build up your team or do you just want to like get Oki or something, but it kind of felt like you didn't ever have to make that choice. Like, oh, do you want to get another assist? Do you want to do more damage? Or do you want to have better Oki? Like, I feel like that was kind of like the decision-making system that they kind of wanted to be going at all times. But it kind of felt like no matter what, you could get your assist, but also get your damage or get your Oki, whichever one you wanted. You know? It didn't really feel like you were ever really having to make that choice. So maybe they should do something to where like it's maybe a little bit harder to get your other assist. I don't know if people would like that. I know some people don't like the fact that they have parts of their team locked up. They'd rather just have all 4 people available right from the start. I think it's a cool little system to kind of like build up the match and kind of make it to where as the match continues on, both players are getting stronger theoretically with getting more of their team. I like that whole concept, but I feel like maybe they should lock it to where no matter what, you can't get your last member until your round 3. So that way, if someone, because the matches are first to 3, right? The first to 3 rounds. So maybe they should lock it to where no one is allowed to get their 4th member until round 3. So even if you do 3-0 someone, you still have the chance of getting your full team. You just won't get them until that last round. I don't know. I feel like some people would really hate that, but I feel like that would be better rather than just having. Because I feel like it's gonna get to the point where like the I don't know. I don't want to say meta, but like I feel like it's gonna get to the point in the game where everyone's just gonna get their assist in the first round, and then that's that. You don't. That whole system is just gonna basically get thrown out after the first round. So maybe they should lock it up a little bit to make it more restrictive. It's a really iffy thing to balance, I feel like, because that is something a lot of people are going to be worried about, and that really does affect how you would play in terms of how many assists you would have. So being permanently locked out of some assists, I could see definitely upsetting people. So, or until like a certain point, being permanently locked out of an assist until like round 3 at the latest, or at the earliest, I could definitely see annoying people. So I don't know. For me, I think they should maybe restrict a little bit, but I know that probably isn't a popular opinion. So that'll be interesting to see if they end up deciding to change anything about that. But moving on to the next issue I had, and this could actually help the whole getting your assist too early option, is wall breaks. This is the first time I've ever played a game with wall breaks, so I know wall breaks aren't a popular thing in the FGC. At least from what I see, most people aren't a big fan of them in like Strive and stuff. So I was interested to see how I would feel about the wall breaks. And I don't really mind them, The only issue I have is that it felt like they happened too often in this game, and I feel like part of the reason why is because they made it a little bit too easy to get the wall breaks in terms of the range. But what I'm talking about is like there would be times where it would feel like we were just barely past mid screen and someone would get a throw or like a light auto combo, and it would be like, oh, they're not gonna get wall break, and then boom, wall break. It's just like at times it felt like the wall break would happen just because you did something that is supposed to trigger it, so it doesn't matter the range. Like throws especially felt like they had that effect. I feel like throws should not give you the wall break unless you're in the corner. Like you are in the corner. Like their back is against the corner and you manage to throw them. If you're like a little bit out of the corner, I feel like it should not give you a wall break. Just that one small change, restricting or minimizing the amount of range a throw can do a wall break, would help out tremendously in terms of cutting that down a little bit. And that would also mean, because there's less chance of you getting a wall break off like a throw, you would also not get your assist as quickly. Because if you play Tokon, you would know when you get a wall break, you gain an assist from that, if you don't have them all unlocked already. So just that one change could already help the previous issue. And I also feel like with light auto combo, or just the auto combos in general, I'm pretty sure all auto combos could give you a wall break. Minimizing the range, I wouldn't say minimize it as much as like throw, to where you have to be in the corner to do it, but I think it could be cut down just a little bit to where you don't get the wall break as easily. Just cut down the range of where it's allowed to happen a little bit on that one, and I feel like that would also help. It definitely felt like it was just too easy to get wall breaks at times in the game, and I feel like the reason why they did that is because they wanted to make sure people could get their assists quickly, which is fine. But like I said earlier, to me, I feel like it would be a little bit better in the long run if they restricted just a little bit, or just slowed it down just a little bit, so that way every single game isn't basically just everyone has all 4 assists during the first round, you know? Just being able to build up that quickly without really any consequences, because like I said earlier, I feel like you can get damage and Oki and still get your assists. I feel like you're never having to make that tough choice between any of them. I feel like you're able to get all 3 basically every single time. So being able to actually enforce that choice would probably make the game more interesting. For me, I did find the game enjoyable, but I did notice that sometimes the matches did feel a little samey. Like it kind of felt like the same thing was happening the entire time. And I know a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but I did see some people on Twitter and like YouTube and Twitch just kind of say, oh, this game is boring to watch because everything is the same. Like everyone gets all their stuff immediately, so there's like nothing to watch. Like it's a weird thing that they have to balance. So cutting down the way how fast you can get your assists by either locking them out until a certain round, or just cutting down the wall break a little bit would help. Maybe this is a really iffy maybe. Like even I'm not a big fan of this change, but I could see them possibly doing this to maybe to cut down the speed at which people can gain their assists. When you trap someone in the corner with like a combo or a throw, and you don't have all your assists, sometimes you would gain one from that, even though you don't get wall break, because you can't wall break in that direction. Like if you were on the very left edge of the map and you get them trapped in that left corner, you would still get an assist. Because theoretically you would have broken the wall if there was a wall to break there. So instead of just giving you a wall break, they just go ahead and give you like an assist follow-up and then unlocks it for you. Maybe they can take that out. I'm not the biggest fan of that idea, but I could see them possibly doing that as a way to balance it. Because like if you're already in the corner, instead of rewarding the person, like the reward for the person is they keep you in the corner rather than getting a wall break and then resetting neutral. So instead of also giving them an assist on top of that, it just gives them the corner still. Like that in itself is the reward, instead of getting corner, keeping corner, and also getting an assist out of that. You know, you see what I mean? just lower the amount that someone would gain from that rather than keeping it where it is, which might be a little bit too much because getting your assist is super important in this game, so maybe that's a way they can balance it, you know? I don't know, I'm kind of just throwing ideas at the wall here. I'm not the biggest fan of that idea, but like I said, I could easily see that being something that they would change. And speaking of auto combos, they definitely need to adjust the damage on those. Like, it's weird, because like in Dragon Ball FighterZ, I feel like they always had a pretty good grasp on the auto combo damage. Like, it never did a lot, but it also didn't do so little to where it felt pointless to ever do them, or it felt like they were really putting beginners in a bad spot. Like, I feel like they found a happy medium with the auto combo damage in FighterZ. But in Tokon, the auto combo damage was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Like it was basically a guaranteed 50% every time. And with some of the auto combos that some characters had, like Miss Marvel, like it made it rough at times to play. Like it legitimately felt like there was no point in doing anything but auto combos, because if you were just stick to the auto combos, it would be 20 times easier to win a match rather than trying to, you know, actually do your own stuff. And I know part of that is just because without a training mode, like an actual training mode, we don't know what's optimal, we don't have the time to train or practice our stuff, so it would lead to more drops and having to come up with stuff on the fly, which is probably why auto combos felt even stronger than what they are. But I feel like even if we did have a training mode, the auto combos in this game were just not in the game, but just this first beta, they were just too strong. It did just a little bit too much damage. Plus, it would be an easy way to gain yourself an assist because it would lead to an easy wall break and stuff. So I feel like they need to adjust that a little bit, tone down the damage, and it'll be fine. It's an easy adjustment. I honestly think it will be fixed. I'm not worried about that in the least. But yeah, that was definitely an issue in the beta. It was just auto combos. The damage on them was too high, in my opinion, just way too high. But I know some people were asking for auto combos to be removed in general, and I don't think that's gonna happen. Arxis, I feel like, has adjusted to the point to where all of their fighting games will have some kind of an auto combo system, and I think that's perfectly fine to keep for beginners and stuff, or people who don't play fighting games like that, to still be able to jump in and just have a way to do combos without having to worry about, oh, I need to train or I need to practice and stuff. It's just they need to make sure they keep it balanced, and I feel like they definitely did not for this first beta, which is weird because they've done it before with fighters and stuff. So I feel like they'll get it fixed eventually. It's just I was not expecting it to be as bad as it was in this first beta. So, but yeah, for people who are asking for that to be removed, I really don't think it will be. I think the most you'll get is a setting to turn it off for yourself, but it's not going to get removed from the game. I would be shocked if they did that. One thing I would like to see in the game in terms of settings is, I like that they included motion inputs for people who want them. That's fine. But for people who don't want to use motion inputs, it would be nice if they included an option to just turn them off completely, so that way you don't have any accidental inputs. Because for me, I don't mind motion inputs. If a game forces you to use motion inputs, that's fine, I'll use them. But if I see simple inputs, more often than not, I'm just going to go ahead and use them. Especially if they're not convoluted to use, like Street Fighter 6. With the modern system, I feel like that makes the game way more confusing than just doing classic inputs. So in Street Fighter 6, I just use classic. But like Grand Blue versus Rising, I use simple input. I feel like it just makes more sense than using motion inputs. You know, I feel like the simple inputs, they make the game better. They feel better to use with the way Grand Blue plays. And Tokon, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like the game just felt better using simple inputs, to me personally. But unless I didn't see it in the settings, unlike Grand Blue, I didn't see an option to turn it off, so that's something I would like to see personally. It's just an option to turn off motion inputs, 'cause there's definitely times where I would try to do something and I'd accidentally get like forward fireball or like accidentally input DP. So yeah, me personally, I would just like an option to turn off motion inputs completely if I'm not going to use them, rather than having them be there and have it be something I end up accidentally doing. But that's not a huge thing. I honestly feel like that will be added. It might have already been in the game, I just didn't see it. I did go through the settings, but YouTuber brain, streamer brain, whatever you want to call it, just pure idiotic brain, I might have just missed it. I didn't see the option, but yeah. Let me know if you guys saw the option, because like I said, I'm blind sometimes, so maybe I just missed it. But I think other than that, I think that kind of settles all of the issues I had with Tokon. Like I said, I really enjoyed the game. I didn't really have too many issues with it. I like the product that they're putting out. There's definitely some minor adjustments that can be made, and maybe some stuff that will be fixed with just more playtime or being able to go into an actual training mode. But overall, I enjoyed the beta. Super fun. Can't wait for the next one. I hope I get into the next one. I guess that's another issue we can quickly pick up on. The way they rolled out this beta was really awkward in terms of people getting their emails and stuff. Like, they were sending out emails during the beta, right before. Like, I got my beta code or my beta invitation legitimately 5 minutes before the first session went live, because I was complaining about it in Discord to a few of my friends. They were like, oh, it's time to get into Tokon. I was the only one of us that didn't have a Tokon invitation. And then, like, 5 minutes before the beta started, I look at my email. 5 minutes ago. Welcome to the Marvel Tokon Beta. Please accept your invitation. I was just like, you motherfuckers. You motherfuckers waited till the last minute to send me my invite. And I know some people were getting invites like during day one of the beta, and some people were getting their invites. I think the latest one I saw was someone got their invite right before the final session of the beta, and it's just like, I don't know, like, I understand sending people more invites, but I feel like the way they went about it was really weird. I think it'd be better if they just had like set times, like, hey, at this time we're sending out our first wave of beta invites. This next time we'll send out this batch of beta invites, and then here, this will be the final day or final time where we send out beta invites. So if you didn't get one, you're not getting into one. I feel like it'd be better to do that. And then the whole session playtime for the beta felt weird. It would have been nice if they just kept the beta up during the entire time instead of having it go down for like 4 hours. I think one time they knocked it down for an hour and then put it back up. So, but that's a whole different issue. That could be like they wanted to take the data from the first session, quickly go through it and be like, all right, let's make these changes to our servers, and then we'll put it back up and see if that helped in terms of with the connection and stuff. I never had connection issues with Tokon. Most of the matches were below 5 rollback frames, but even when they were at like 5 rollback frames, it didn't feel bad. So I feel like the netcode is really good, but that's pretty par for standard for Arxis. I feel like Arxis has gotten really good at their rollback netcode, so I'm not worried about the netcode of the game. Felt really good. The worst I ever got was 5 rollback frames, and even when it was at 5 rollback frames, it was perfectly fine. So yeah, overall pretty happy with that. But yeah, hopefully the next time they do a beta, the rollout for it isn't as awkward. So hopefully they work on that. But yeah, other than that, I don't think I have anything else to say. If I try to, I'll just end up rambling and going around in the same circles. If I did forget anything, I'll probably make another video about it if it's something huge. But for now, I think I'm fine with what I've talked about. So let me know down below what your guys' issues with the betas were. How was your impression of it, if you even got in. If you're excited for the game, I'm super excited for the game. Star-Lord is a super fun character. He reminds me of Ranger from DNF Duel, who is my favorite fighting game character of all time to play as. So really good feeling about it. But other than that, I think that'll go ahead and do it for this video. So thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, I will see you all next time. Peace out.